Good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Well, you've been watching the fires out in LA. That is something, huh? I think there's a lot of lessons there. I'm sure many of you have already thought of them. Um, you know, to start off with, I know that there are a lot of people saying that this was intentional. I just watched an Alex Jones excerpt. I'll probably put that up over on Patreon for everybody to see in case they haven't. We do that for our great patrons, um, and I don't doubt that a bit. I told Kelly last night. I said I believe this was purposeful. Now these things can always be an accident, and that's why I mean, there's a lot of conspiracies. I won't call them theories, but yeah, there's a lot of things done on purpose. But you also have to allow that it could have been accidental. Look at all the fires that are started by people, not attending their campfire or properly putting it out. But I think that more are caused by, well, negligence, right? Uh, but intentional also. We had fires some years ago that everybody knows they were intentional. It was economic terrorism, right? Can't say that word, but um, we know that, and the economic impact. Well, one of the greatest kinds of attacks you can make on a country is economic, or on a state, or whatever. I think this probably was, and when we look at and well, I won't go down that road. Um, I think that it was. Um, when you look at the pattern of it, uh, you decide for yourself. I also think, however, that it could be an act of God. Now, I am not one of those. If you've watched me before, you know this, and if you haven't, welcome. But I'm not one of those who attributes everything to an act of God. I know there are a lot of people out there that no matter what it is, the rising crime, this or that, it's the end of the world, and no, I don't believe that at all. Never ascribe to God, which you can necessarily, which you can pretty easily explain by the stupidity of people. And people are both evil and stupid. Not everybody's evil. We all have that spark within us. We are not good, but people are evil, people are stupid, and people will do these things. But I tell you, when you look at the downfall of our country, when you looked at the downfall of our society and our culture, boy, I tell you, you can pin it right on L.A. and Hollywood, right? I mean, that's some of you. Um, if you've been out to L.A. and you haven't, and you've been to the parts that aren't that good, you know what I'm talking about. Well, let me just say a few things about the lessons that we can glean from this. Uh, First off, well, and this is an overall. Well, let me start with the simple stuff that everybody knows, right? Okay, you got to get out. You got to get out fast. You should know what the natural or societal dangers are in your area, and you should be prepared for them, just like everybody who lives down in Florida, or along the Gulf Coast. They should be prepared for hurricanes. Most of them are. Some aren't, but you see them. You see them. Uh, the ones stuck in the traffic jams coming out of Hilton Head, and wondering why they can't get out before the hurricane reaches them. Those are the people who didn't think ahead. But if you live in one of those areas, uh, it's just like you live in Kansas here, where I live. Now, I haven't. I've only seen one tornado in my life, but you should be aware of those things that are peculiar to your area, and and of course, in you know, besides earthquakes, fires in California. So you should be, they should be, aware of that and plan for them. They too many people, they just didn't get out in time. Now, whether that was their fault or not, they say that these fires just raged unbelievably fast because they had 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds out there. What is it called? The Santa Ana winds, something like that. Um, and it's been dry. and they haven't managed their forests properly under Newsom, and because of you know, and they don't have their water right because of that little fish. And I'll get back to something about more about that in a minute. But it was a setup, right? And if you live up there, you need to be ready to go in a minute, and you should be aware of the winds and how dry it is. And once a spark starts, I think it's time to tell the family, hey, family, let's get our bags and let's just take a little trip out of the city, and all that. And that's, of course, the second thing. You should be ready to go. You should have your bags. You should have, and whether we call it jick bags. Some people call it go bags. Just get gone bags. And you should have it for everybody. Now I keep uh, several of our vehicles kind of pre-packed about stuff. Every all of them have boxes of food and other things, camping supplies and things like that. But you should be able to say, this looks a little dicey. Let's take a day trip and just get out of town and throw your bags in there and go have a good time. And then, then if everything lights up, it's still bad. You lose everything you've got, but you still got you, right? And you're not the one trapped in traffic down there. I just watched a few minutes video of the traffic down in LA, and it's not moving anywhere. I mean, intersections are plugged because everybody's thinking about themselves and they're trying to get out. And as a result, they have crammed themselves just like into a logjam of traffic. If that fire gets down into that area, they are screwed big. And who knows, it could. So, being aware of what's going on, keeping track of what's going on in the world around you is, of course, always number one. Living up in those areas that are predisposed to those fires, and I know everybody likes to live in an area that was pretty. It's the trees and the mountains and everything like that. But that's also a danger. I mean, in my first book, by the way, I'll give you. I have an announcement about my books in a minute. In my first book, one of the things I said was at Stonemont, Jim said, we got to clear the trees back away from the house, and we're going to clear it out to, and I forget what I had them say, but you should have cleared to at least 100 yards outside your house, and more than that, for different reasons. For the reason that he gave, this was my book series is a post-apocalyptic book series. So I think I had him take it out to several hundred yards, and that was to have fields of fire so that nobody could hide in things coming up to the house. But also, people who are smart, who live in the country, they don't have trees coming right up to their house. That's another thing for you all, who do live out there rurally, and a lot of people don't seem to think about this too much, but the old timers did. They didn't have trees right up to their house. For that reason, for fire, whether it's set intentionally or a lightning strike or whatever, you want a fire break. You provide your own fire break. And out there in of course, the hills above LA, everybody likes to live in the beauty of the trees. I understand that. I mean, there's a lot of places like the Ozarks are like that. The Smokies are like that. The problem is that if you have a fire, man, there's not a lot you can do. You're going to be up in smoke along with the trees that are right up against your house. And so not too many people talk about that, but for those of you who live rurally and out there, one of the best things you can do is, clear a fire break from around your house. Because no matter how well armed you are, let's take this to a post-apocalyptic scenario now. No matter how well armed you are, how solid your fortress is that you have built, hey, somebody with a big lighter can take you out, right? Okay. So those of course are the main things, but there's another thing that I think a lot of people don't think about, and it's because they don't want to think about it, and that is you have to be aware of and take responsibility for where you live. And too many people think that where they live is kind of beyond their control. Well, this is where my job is. This is where this is. This is where that. And they don't want to. They're just there. They feel stuck, and so they haven't taken responsibility for one of the main decisions you make in your life, and that is, where do I want to live? And there's a lot of different reasons, and a lot of different things that come into making that decision, right? I mean, if you don't like cold, you live down south. If you don't like hot, you live up north. If you like snow, you live up north. If you like the desert, you live out west. Make those decisions, but then you have to be ready for what comes, right? But there's another thing, and that is the political uh, bent of your area. Now, people who live in, I get a lot of comments, and people tell me, well, I wished I could, our laws in California, gun laws and everything like this, and our taxes and this and all. Yeah, I get it, uh, but I mean, you can move, right? You can move, and there are a lot of beautiful places uh, in our country, just like in every country, I'm sure. There's a lot of beautiful places, a lot of great places you can live. You can live wherever you want. You're not stuck in, it doesn't matter whether it's California or Kansas. I'm not putting one up against the other. We get so many people. Uh, Kansas, or at least in the area where I live now, not most of Kansas, but in the area where I live, it's kind of like one of those deals like nobody's from here. Everybody moves from someplace else to here because of the quality of life and all that. But so many people have moved here because of that, the quality of their life. And they said, "Gosh, when I first thought about moving to Kansas from, it doesn't matter, New York, California, Florida, whatever." And they said, "Oh, yeah, I thought about, or most of them were brought here with their job, work." And they thought, "Well, man, I live out there with the yokels and the prairies and all that." And then they come here and they find, "Wow, I've never had a lifestyle this good." And I'm not just bumping up my area. There's a lot of great areas in the country. But if you also have to pay attention, I stay here because of the political atmosphere of the state, not particularly of my county, but of the state. Now I can understand why people don't want to move out of California. It's a beautiful state. It's beautiful. I brought a lot of prisoners back from California when I was in the fugitive unit, and I just love it. I mean, everywhere from San Diego to Lake Tahoe. I mean, it's a gorgeous state, except for the places that man has made it ugly, right? And if you've been, I used to love to go to California because I like the beautiful places and I like the ugly places. I mean, I like at the time I did. I wouldn't anymore, but I did. I like the skid rows and red light districts and the hood, and I just liked it. But I grew out of it. But I understand it's a beautiful state, and it's too bad that the people who have made it, what it is, have made it what it is. So these people are gonna be thinking and checking themselves. Oh, what the horrible thing also now, a lot of these people, I heard uh, that a lot of the insurance companies have canceled their fire insurance on their home. So these people have lost. I mean, this is just wiped out, and these people have lost their homes. That's it. They don't they don't have anything, right? They're not getting any insurance settlement over it. They've lost everything. And for those people who kept a lot if they kept a lot of cash or a lot of their assets at home, they're gone too. I guess another reason for Bitcoin, right? I didn't mean to make that point, but I guess that's true. Um, Interesting. So they're messed up now. I've heard people say, "Well, this is just another Maui that I think Alex Jones mentioned this, that they're wanting to clear all these areas for the upcoming Olympics, and they want to make it a smart city and rebuild and all that." I'm sure there's going to be plenty of conspiracies out there about people saying this was a directed energy weapon and it was started and this, and I don't know, and I'm not going to say it's not true. I wouldn't say anything that's not true, but you know, it, I guess it will be fun to watch the people that want to make that case. We'll see. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. But these people have just been wiped out for, what was it a man's decision? Were they wiped out on purpose by the powers? Did God finally get sick of what's coming out of L.A.? And not everything. There's a lot of great people in L.A., right? A lot of good people out there. A lot of good things. A lot of beautiful things. There's also a lot of, you talk about the center of sin. You talk about the Sodom of the United States. I think you'd have to put your thumb on L.A., don't you? Hollywood. Okay, so anyway, we will see. Also, I should say this. I can't believe that I'm able to announce this, but we actually are caught up on all of our book deliveries. The last one got shipped, and we have been running behind for oh, wow, a long time. And yesterday, the last book shipment got sent out to people who have been waiting on their order. So now I can again let you know that if you would like to buy the Stonemont series, my books, from me, okay, you've always been able to get them from Amazon, but we were just buried in orders and trying to keep up. Finally, we caught up. If you'd like to buy my books, the Stonemont series, what thousands of people have told me is the best preparedness, survival, futuristic, post-apocalyptic series they've ever read. And I'm not saying that. They said that and to me, and why shouldn't I pass that on, right? It's good. And I think you might like it. The reversion, the revival, the renewal, an appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune. And the latest one, On Wings Like Eagles. You can now get them from me again through our website, stonemont.us, and there's a special way you can buy them as a set, and we toss in the Stonemont notebook, and you get them on our website, stonemont.us. So you can do those again, and I think we're finally to the point to where we have our ordering up to where the wait is not going to be as long as it has been in the past. And I'll accept all responsibility for that. I've had, every time I put in a big order, and I thought that would be enough. And an order for me, I have to order from the printer, right? And so I put in what I thought was a huge order, but the orders coming into us just blew us away. And I have to get better at what should I say? I don't have to get better at marketing, I guess, because plenty of people were buying. I have to get better at order fulfillment, right? And so I think I am. So you can get them from me again if you would like to, and you won't get them from me as fast as you will from Amazon. And you can get them from Amazon. That link's down below, as is the link to get them through me. But you do get them signed. Amazon will get them to you in a few days. I'll get them to you in a week or two, and you'll get them signed. And so there you have it. And I'm happy. That's been weighing on me for a long time. And so now I feel like I'm unburdened by what has been. All right. You all have a good day. Prayers for everybody out there in L.A. But as with all of these things, we need to take a look and say, what if something like this happened where I live? Am I ready for it? And then to reflect on semper paratus, always prepared. We prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. You want to live well tomorrow, don't you? Okay, then prepare well today. And have a good one. Hago, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.